for it. I would really like to see him get a ring, even if it is with the Chiefs.
Yeah, and the Chiefs as a franchise deserves a championship. Finally, they've had a lot of great seasons that have gone.
They're an
down
original AFL team
that have gone down in flames,
and they haven't moved.
I mean,
like
13
other
and 3.
original AFL teams.
Exactly, one of the best fan bases ever. And again, like
pack out the stadium.
Going back to Missouri and our last guest, the home of great barbecue.
Yep. But yeah, man, real quick.
I totally like using the Chiefs on Madden. I'm not even going to pretend like I didn't.
It's because they have everything you want. They have
colors
hella
are
fast
amazing.
receivers. You can run four verts all day long. They have a tight end who can go down the seam, and they have a running quarterback. What else do you need?
He's not a running quarterback. He's a quarterback who can run.
Yeah, I feel you.
He's like if you were building a modern day NFL quarterback,
he's like Byron Leftwich with wheels.
He has Byron Leftwich's arm, Aaron Rodgers type athleticism, and Brett Favre moxie. And he talks like a puppet. Well, I don't need to. You remember that.
Ultimately, the thing is, and I said this before, I think that game's going to come down to whoever can run the ball better because neither of them really have a bell cow running back.
Sony Michel had 120 yards and 3 touchdowns last
That's
week.
true.
Michel is a great player.
That's true, but has his own durability concerns.
It's going to come down to can the Chiefs actually stop Tom Brady and shut him down passing the ball? Can you force the Patriots to beat you running the ball?
I don't know, man. I still say it's running game because both of these defenses were a liability pretty much through most of the season. They both stepped up, had big games last week against really Melvin Gordon and the Colts didn't have a bell cow, but they ran the ball. Good. Yeah, they ran the ball good throughout the year. So they really stepped up. I think it's going to be much of the same thing. Who can hit those big plays? They both have speed on the outside.
This is a big game for Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator, who surprisingly didn't get any jobs. But hey, shout out to the NFL only hiring white offensive coordinators. Shout out to the league not having a lot of black offensive line coaches. Shout out to the NFL not having a lot of black quarterback coaches. But they can totally coach receiver and running back. And then they got to go to defense. Oh, corners have to be the defensive back coach all day. Shout out to Chris Richard.
Man, but what I did want to say about this whole championship round is, honestly, did we just waste 16 weeks of our lives? Literally, I can't think of a time where all the top 4 teams made
it. Was like college football. We always knew it was Alabama and Clemson, and nobody else matters. It's
like, for once, your favorite analyst's midseason prediction was correct. And mind you, and I'll get to this later, but
wait, I just heard regular Frito slander in the group chat, Ryan.
Yeah.
We're not gonna. First off, regular Fritos are the foundation of chili Fritos, so we are not going to slander Fritos. All right, moving on.
If you never had regular Fritos, you ain't never been through anything.
I don't trust you.
But yeah, man, ultimately, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah. What I was going to say is, we get a lot of stuff right. We have people on here who get a lot of stuff right. And usually,
our winning percentage is in the 90s.
And usually when we get stuff wrong, there's usually hella qualifying statements and
we're still right.
Missed words so that we're not completely wrong.
It's like Terrence Howard. I was wrong in 50 Cent Get Rich or Die Trying movie. I was wrong, but I was right, even though I was wrong, because I still could have been right, but I was wrong, but I still could have been right.
And that's what this podcast is like. Shout out to Wu. But yeah, man, ultimately, football really isn't that
Shout out to Wu having a great Cowboys jersey, too. I saw that snap last week.
Wow, you just said something nice about the Cowboys.
I said something nice about Wu, which is easy to do.
But yeah, man, I just think football is really not as complicated as we make it out to be, especially certain podcasts that sit there and are 2 dudes in a room trying to break down X's and O's. I mean, we could do that, and we do that occasionally.
Or when you're a major TV network that has nothing to fill in your main block.
Except for arguing and advertising?
No. So you do a fake mock draft 3 months from now? Or 3 months before the draft?
The point is, these teams are who they thought we are. We are where we thought we would be. And honestly, too many people make too much of everything trying to break down X's and O's. I mean, at one point, it did feel like the league was wide open, but really, it was just playing tricks on us. It was always the big
Once I saw that Rams-Chiefs game, I was like, those 2 teams are Super Bowl caliber teams. So there's New England and then the Saints.
So before we get to more, petty shit like we do, you want to make your picks, or you want me to make my picks first?
I'm going to just say it, man. Chiefs, Saints.
Wow. Damn. There's a lot of Ram fans that are going to be.
Hey, I'm a fan of the Rams, but I'm also a clear-headed, of sound mind and body, fair and balanced adult. Drew Brees is a better quarterback than Jared Goff. Sean Payton is a better head coach than Sean McVay. The Saints have an overall better defense than the Rams. Marshall Lattimore would be the best defensive player on the Rams other than Aaron Donald. The Saints have great defensive players at every level of their defense. You can't say that about the Rams.
Is that going to be a popular Super Bowl, like from a grand scale?
That would be the greatest Super Bowl ever, and you'll see people doing chopper style and the Dirty Bird and awesome choreographed street fights in the streets of Atlanta. New Orleans and Atlanta would just have a fight so huge it would just turn into a big ass.
I'm talking about the game perspective though, like Chiefs and Saints fans, like
that would blow the ratings off the TV.
I don't know, man.
Think about it.
I
Sean
guess
McVay,
Breeze
versus Mahomes, the guy who should win an MVP and the first ballot Hall of Famer, but is constantly overlooked his whole career.
New guard, old guard.
He's not even a new guard. Drew Brees stands outside of Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, and people are already putting Aaron Rodgers over him. He's probably one of the most disrespected, graded quarterbacks of all time.
What I will
and
say,
New Orleans is one of the greatest fan bases of all time. And look at their story.
They went through shit. They went through shit in that arena.
They've gone
with
through
that team.
And the Saints,
with Lil Wayne.
The Saints were historically the worst defense in NFL history for about 5 years.
Pre-Pelicans, Hornets.
A couple of years ago, this is like 3 years ago, they were the worst defense in NFL history. People tend to forget. This team is better than that Super Bowl team.
I mean, talent-wise, for sure.
And they had less talent on offense.
And Dennis Allen was the defensive coordinator. Let that sink in.
Hey, man. Everybody deserves a mulligan. And not everybody who was the Raiders head coach should have been the Raiders head coach. I mean, if somebody offered you a head coaching job, would you take it at a high school?
I mean, if
now, and you weren't prepared for it?
Honestly, I have no recollection of Dennis Allen. For all I know, Siri could have been our coach for those 3 years.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I talked about Reggie McKenzie, and I said, do you even remember life as a Raider before Reggie McKenzie?
Yeah, I do.
You
Jerry
do,
Porter.
but most people don't. No. That's 8 years before, dude. You got to go back an extra 5 years.
Tommy Kelly, Michael Huff.
Tommy Kelly was the end of that era.
But
that's my issue. It's with the Saints,
my whole thing,
everything is there for them.
My whole thing with the Saints, man.
Cam Jordan.
The reason why I would like to see them get there is, yes, Cam Jordan.
Marcus Davenport. Everybody laughed at that first-round pick, including me.
Senior Bowl riser.
But guess what?
That's
4'5", and he's 6'6", and he's strong, and he's getting better.
You wanted Marcus Davenport on the Raiders.
I did. Because I thought he'd be there late in the first round, and he would have been had the Saints not drafted up for him. But the Raiders are stupid, so we'll get over that.
But yeah, man, I think for me, you mentioned some things, the defense coming up and all that stuff. But the storyline that I like with the Saints is Drew Brees he gets credit, but it's not mainstream for the amount of work he's done in the New Orleans community since coming there. Essentially as someone who had been virtually blackballed by 2 different teams because of his shoulder. Won them a Super Bowl and has pretty much been an icon there ever since. And while his play hasn't declined a lot and he could probably still play, I think if he does win a Super Bowl, he probably will ride off into the sunset only because life comes at you fast. CC Peyton Manning, CC Tom Brady this year. The decline is real, man. It's literally overnight. It's literally overnight. It's literally overnight.
Drew Brees could play another 3 years in this offense.
He might be able to.
You could just draft receivers and running backs.
Winning a Super Bowl, you got Bridgewater as a backup.
Best offensive line in football.
Everything is set up for you to just move on with your life. And he's got enough ventures, enough philanthropy going on to where he could be completely content with that.
I get that.
Be immortalized.
I get that. But he's already a legend in that city because he brought them a Super Bowl. But the fact that it almost didn't happen.
He dominates Manning and Brady in terms of philanthropy. That's what I wanted to make. That's the point I wanted to make.
He's better than them in their own home state.
He's a better person than them.
He's better than them in their own home state. Think about that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Imagine if,
And shout out to Joe Horn. I just wanted to say that.
Yes. Shout out to Jerome Pathon, Deuce McAllister.
Yeah, shout out to Deuce McAllister,
Matt Stinchcomb. Shout out to
Ryan Turley?
Who's Ryan Turley?
The tackle?
You mean Kyle Turley?
Kyle Turley, yeah, there you go.
R.I.P.
He looked like a Ryan.
R.I.P. Will Smith. One of the great.
R.I.P. Will Smith, for sure, 100%.
Jonathan Vilma.
Who was the other end opposite Will Smith on that team?
I know his name. Damn it, I know his name. He went to Kansas State. It was Darren Young and somebody else.
Tracy Porter?
No. That's
Mike
a corner.
McKenzie?
That's a corner, bro. That's a corner. You're talking about defensive
No,
ends?
I'm just trying to say if you're willing to shout them out because you low-key think
shout them out. No. I didn't. Mike McKenzie wasn't trash in Green Bay. He was trash in New Orleans though. Shout out. Are we gonna say shout out to Darren Sharper because he's technically a Hall of Fame safety, even though he's a horrible rapist?
I'm not gonna touch that one, especially with who's in the chat right now.
That'll be next episode. We only cancel people we don't like. There, I said it.
Okay, man, but yeah, let's get to the. Yeah. So you got the Saints. Honestly,
it was Will Smith, and damn it, it was a really good defensive end. And now I'm mad that I can't remember his name.
I'm gonna take the Saints too. Honestly, I just think they're too stacked. But
Rams are
the wild card to me is Ndamukong Suh, man. If he goes off like he did versus the Cowboys, like he honestly low key looked better than Aaron Donald. Like he looked like Detroit too.
He's a premier D tackle, and honestly, he's the one guy.
He was a sleeping giant.
Had Ndamukong Suh played 3 technique his whole year, he'd be better. He'd be a Hall of Fame player. He was never allowed to just be. They always double and triple teamed, but he never was allowed to be a true pure 3 technique.
And they always try to make him a 1 technique or a nose guard
or a 5 technique.
Nose tackle.
Yeah, it's like Gerald McCoy. Oh, we'll just put you at 3 technique, and by the way, the Bucs might get rid of him. But and the Jets may or may not trade Leonard Williams. But bottom line is, when it comes to the Rams, I just don't trust their linebacking core. And Marcus Peters is a liability if he's not getting interceptions. He's getting burnt.
Which he's going to have some chances to get interceptions because there's going to be a lot of passes.
Yeah. But actually, not only that, it's like, okay, if you take away, you stop the run or you risk going deep, and there's also Ted Ginn and Traquan Smith, the rookie.
Which one thing I did disagree with Jake was Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram is not trash.
Mark Ingram is better than C.J. Anderson. So I think Mark Ingram would be a better fit on the Rams than the Saints, to be honest with you. I agree with that. I think Kamara is the number 1 back on the team, and they're treating Kamara the way they should have treated Reggie Bush.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because if they treated Reggie Bush the way they treated Kamara, Reggie Bush would have been the best player in the league. And you saw.
I don't know about that, but.
You sure about that?
So pretty much we're unanimous with the Saints-Chiefs Super Bowl.
I think Chiefs are just too good. Mahomes is an X factor to beat a guy like Brady, to knock him out of the paint.
And honestly, as you said last week, we want to see Belichick and Saban lose in the same year.
Exactly. God commanded.
Especially with all this bad shit that's happening on in the year. Which brings me to my next point. Are you ready for this one, man? What if there is no Super Bowl? What do I mean?
Plot twist?
For those of you who don't know, the NFL is, of course, a nonprofit. And, of course, they're finessing all 32 markets into, yes, you guessed it, paying for their security. Yeah, that's right. Your tax dollars go to making sure there's no fights and there's no chaos at football games. And so what does that mean?
Wait, did you say there's going to be no fights and chaos at a football game?
Exactly.
Have you been around people?
Exactly. And the only thing
I've seen high school football games get shot up.
And the only thing that's going to make that worse is the fact that, well, there might not be any police or security there. Why? Because, of course, our government is shut down. People are working without pay. people aren't working, and
New Orleans will gladly have people come down there if the Saints make the Super Bowl.